What I find fascinating in all these conversations I see you have is with people who described themselves a few years ago as nervous, shy, didn't even, almost have the self-belief to apply for the scholarship, then speaking so confidently and proudly about themselves and their journeys. That transition is just beautiful to watch, isn't it?
It is, it's amazing. And seeing Maddie up here, I remember the first time that Mick and Adam asked me to host one of their little fundraisers. It was a smaller one. And I felt so nervous and I was so anxious about it, and that was not that long ago. So I don't have any doubt in my mind that Maddie, in a few years' time, will be doing all of the things that, all of her dreams, everything. So
Crushing it. Just quickly, for our viewers at home at the moment who would have watched your career with great interest, just quickly fill in some of the gaps. For the people who might not listen, you started Triple J radios where you first came into the public consciousnness.
Well, only the best at Triple J, as you would well know.
When did you start there?
So I started there four years ago on Breakfast with Ben and Liam. So I've been doing the early morning shift for 4.5 years.
Reading the news on the Jays?
I was reading the news with Ben and Liam on the Breakfast Show, and then after a couple of years, Channel 9 came knocking and asked if I wanted to work on the Today Show.
The funny thing about reading the news on Breakfast on something like Triple J is, they're just having fun and taking the piss, and you're playing with, but you're representing ABC News, so there's certain lines you can't cross. At the same time, they're constantly poking you with a stick, trying to get you to cross the lines, and you're trying to keep a straight face. What was it like working with those guys?
It's fun. I think that actually you have a story about this because you were trying to get your newsreader to do something, like read some story that was maybe like satirical or a joke.
We had an April,
and she wouldn't do it.
We had an April Fool's Day joke, and we wanted her just to come in and just do one little line in the news, and she was strictly forbidden from lying to the Australian people or something silly like that. You know how it is.
It's so weird how journalists are like.
And then Channel 9 come knocking. Is there a part of you that's nervous to take that job? You're in a pretty good spot at Triple J at the time.
Yeah, well, I was nervous because I know how much people care about their breakfast TV shows. And I don't know if I was ever really prepared for that, or if you can prepare for that sort of pressure. But I knew that I had a responsibility to talk about the things that are important to me to people who wouldn't otherwise hear those perspectives. And so to be able to talk about, Indigenous affairs and women's issues and things like that to a whole new audience, I felt like I couldn't really say no.
Do you feel you've done that? Do you feel you've shone a lot, in particular on the young Indigenous experience in Australia, especially in a job that sees you travel everywhere from big capital cities to remote places people have never heard of? Do you feel you're representing well?
I feel like, we can always do better. Yeah, I always feel like every time there's a big issue, like earlier in the year with the Black Lives Matter protests and discussions, I was such a big part of that on our show. And I felt so proud that for the first time people were waking up and hearing an Aboriginal perspective on those issues where they wouldn't have before. And so I did feel very, very proud of those moments. But it's a difficult thing when you're an Aboriginal person because you don't want to represent every Aboriginal person's perspective. You just sort of want to put across a different perspective to the one that's already out there.
Because we white fellas sometimes go, okay, let's find out what is the Aboriginal opinion on this. Hello, Aboriginal, tell us what all Aboriginals think. And it's so much more complex and subtle than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I tried it after the budget. I just walked up to a guy on the street and said, "Excuse me, what's going on with the budget this year?" And he was like, "What? I didn't have to answer this." And I was like, "Oh, you don't speak for everyone in your community?" Oh, okay.
And just quickly, no one at home would forgive me if I didn't ask you, what's it like just to be, it's like 3:30 in the morning and you're getting up for the 8th hour and then you're there in makeup and hair and you just turn and there's Richard Wilkins.
Well, he's not there as much as what he used to be. So I actually have to look at Carl Stefanovic and Ali Langdon, which is far worse, actually. It's a scary sight, No, in all seriousness, they are such legends. And, I miss Ali being here this year because she was at the lunch with us last year. And it's like having a big sister on set.
Well, you're doing a great job and you are such, as Maddie said, an inspiration to all people, but especially to young Indigenous women looking going, yeah, why can't that be me? So you might not have that long in the chair before a hungry new generation come after us, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Well, yeah, I'll be counting down the days until I can not set my alarm for 3:30, Maddie, so please, come on.
Thanks for your support, Brooke. It's always great to have Brooke here. Thank you so much, Brooke Boney. The one and the only Brooke Boney, ladies and gentlemen.